Hello and welcome back, all you fabulous fighting fantasy aficionados, for another episode, long awaited, I hope, by some of you, of my next playthrough, my next journey into the dangerous house of hell. Now, this book is really tricky. Last time, even though I managed to explore a lot more than I had done before, I still didn't really feel any closer to getting to the end of it. I think there's still quite a few challenges ahead that I have to figure out before I can get there. My map is, this is the first part of it. The second part, getting a little bit convoluted, but still relatively readable, I think. Unlike my Scorpion Swamp map, if you saw that Scorpion Swamp episode, or the Scorpion Swamp episodes. Anyway, without too much further ado, I will get started, and I'll be ready for you in a few moments, down on my desk with my adventuring supplies. So let's get ready for the House of Hell. Okay, so here we are. I'll just shift my camera on my screen there. Okay, so we've got our book, we've got our map, 2 pages, we've got dice, pens, pencil, and what will soon become a character sheet. Right, let's see. Trying a different camera angle today, a little bit lower, so that I actually can get to the eye level of the camera more easily when I'm down here reading my book or looking at my map. I can just look up a little bit, and there you are. Got my Earl Grey, and which still reminds me I really should make that Earl Grey brewing video one of these days. And my apologies for not having got to that yet. So, it has been a while since my last episode, and of course it's because I've been busy with work. I've been working a bit extra this week, or the last 2 weeks really, and so it's been a little bit more difficult to squeeze in making longer videos like fighting fantasy playthroughs. Again, I apologize, but I'm getting started again today, and hopefully I haven't forgotten too much since last time, and I will not make the same mistakes that I've made before. So, let's get started. Right, so our character has a skill. I'll just use a pen for that. Skill, stamina, luck, and fear as well, which is an original for this particular book. Skill is the normal thing. It's okay, 5 plus 6, so 11. But at the beginning of the game you start without a weapon, so you have to deduct 3 for battles until you find a weapon. Stamina is a reasonably healthy 22. Luck is a very healthy 12, and very important, of course, fear, 9, which is probably the weakest link by far here as well, and also fear has been more likely to cause the end of the game than other things, it seems, because the thing how fear works is you start on 0 really, and whenever you get fear points it goes up, and once you get to your maximum fear, which is what you roll for, you die of fright basically. And there are lots of things that can scare the living bejesus out of you in this particular book. Ghosts, zombies, talking and moving pictures, and I'm not talking about cinema or the movies. I'm talking about paintings actually starting to move and talk, things like that. Right, let's get started. Just a sip of tea before I get started. Oh. Yummy. Okay. Background. The rain spatters the windscreen relentlessly. You can see no more than a watery gloom as you strain forwards over the steering wheel to see the road ahead. Although the wipers flap valiantly, they are fighting a losing battle as the rain drives harder and harder. Your foot eases off the accelerator. The headlights struggle to light up the road. Damn, you curse the white-haired old man who sent you off along this bumpy track. Probably he meant the second turning on the left, or even a right turning, the old fool. Perhaps this is his idea of a joke. After all, didn't you notice a mischievous glint in his eye? Something vaguely sinister? But what sort of nonsense is this? So you've taken a wrong turn and got caught in a downpour in the night? The rain will ease off soon. Can't possibly keep up this deluge for long. And then you'll be able to watch out. You spin the wheel frantically to the left to avoid the figure who, from nowhere, shows up in the headlights. The car bumps and jolts as it bounces over the rocky roadside and thumps into a ditch. You collect your thoughts. You are unhurt, but shaken. Then you remember what has happened. The body. You must have hit the figure which appeared. There was no way you could have avoided him. You spring after the car, praying that he is still alive. Your clothes soak up the rain as you hobble back to the road. In the darkness, it is difficult to see anything, but there is no sign of a body. You consider the situation. Are you certain that it was someone and not a trick of the light? Yes, you can remember the arms held up in fright as the car collided, and the look of anguish on his face. A man you recognized, an old man with white hair. Your heart leaps. No, impossible. With a shiver of fear, you race back to the car, jump inside, force the key into the ignition, and twist it violently. The starter coughs, splutters, and dies. You hit the key again, but this time a single shudder is all the engine can manage. You grasp the wheel with your hands and shake it desperately as if to force some life into the car. But the battery is dead. The car is certainly not budging from the ditch tonight. Your situation is hopeless, but now the plight of your car is paramount. Where can you get help? You passed the garage at Mingleford, but that was some 20 miles away. As if in answer, a light appears in the distance. Someone has switched on a bedroom light. What a stroke of luck. It was at least 15 miles back that you passed the last house, and you happen to have broken down just a short distance from someone's home. I'm sorry, I'll just switch off notifications on my phone for the moment. You button up your coat and open the door. From outside the car, you can see the building more clearly. Just ahead on the left, the drive winds up to a large house. It is a good 5 minutes walk away, and by the time you reach it, you will be drenched. But how else can you call the garage? You can't afford to miss tomorrow's appointment. No, go you must. Anyway, you'll probably be able to dry off inside after phoning the garage. You slam the door, turn up your collar, and set off for the house. A flash of lightning lights it up clearly for you, but in your preoccupation with the rain, the warning from above is wasted on you. The house is old, very old, and in a shocking state of repair. The light in the window is flickering, most likely an oil lamp, certainly not electric. And you don't notice a fact that might have turned you back anyway. There is no telephone line going to the house. As you climb the steps to the front door, little do you realize what fate has in store for you. Tonight is going to be a night to remember. Well, if you're alive to remember it. Now turn over. Right, there's our charming little building there. So, you climb the creaking steps up to the front door and pause to catch your breath. Even though you ran all the way up the drive from the car, you are soaked through. Your feet are particularly wet, judging by the number of puddles you stepped into in the dark. The drive needs a small fortune spending on repairs. But under the porch you are out of the storm and you brush the rain from your clothes before turning towards the door. The rain is still pelting down, but an eerie silence hangs in the air. No lights are on downstairs. You step back off the porch to check the upstairs window which attracted your attention earlier. Nothing. No lights. The whole place seems to be deserted, but then you remember the time. 5 minutes to midnight. Everyone in the house has probably gone to bed. An owl hoots in the distance and a shiver runs down your spine. The situation is a little scary. Here you are, in the middle of nowhere, at some strange run-down old house about to wake up whoever lives inside at midnight. They certainly won't be too pleased. But you have no choice if you are going to make your appointment tomorrow. You must reach a telephone to call for help. You step up to the front door. From the left-hand side of the house, a dull glow catches your attention. A light has been turned on. You breathe a sigh of relief, at least someone is awake. You consider your options. There is an elaborate knocker in the middle of the door and a bell pull hanging down to the right. Will you rap the door with a knocker, pull the cord, or creep around the house to investigate the light? So I've got 3 options, or the secret 4th option, which is to take a sip of tea first. And then I will have to consult my map a little bit. Okay, so in the past, I have examined the light coming from the side, which brings you to the kitchen entrance, which, as far as I can tell, only leads to your being knocked unconscious and suddenly finding yourself in the middle of the house. Or you can go through the front door, in which case you get some hints and you get some food and a drink and you get a bedroom for the night, which does seem to be the best option. So I'm going to go through the front door. I'm going to knock on the knocker actually, because pulling the cord seems to lead to the same paragraph eventually. So here we are. I'm knocking on the door. A few moments later, the door handle turns slowly and the door opens. Standing in the doorway is a tall man dressed in a dark suit with tails. His long face is solemn. Yes? He asks indignantly. You smile nervously and explain your situation. Your car is broken down, you need to reach a telephone, and you are soaked to the skin. The man's face remains expressionless. Come in, he orders. The master is expecting you. Follow me. He leads you into a reception hall and tells you to sit down while he informs his master of your arrival. Turn to 8. Right. You sit down in a solid carved chair and look around. The reception hall is certainly not what you would have expected from the outside. It is elegantly decorated with rich tapestries and pine oak panels. A number of portraits line the walls. A sturdy 16th century table is set against one wall. Will you wait for your host to arrive? Study the paintings or hunt for a telephone? So, in the past, I have studied the paintings and I've seen all the different ones. At least 2 of them give a certain good hint. I still haven't hunted for a telephone, although I don't know, at this time it doesn't sound like a very good idea. So I'm just going to wait for my host to arrive, I think. So maybe we should look at one of the paintings. Yeah, well, basically what the paintings tell you is a little bit of what's going on in the house, which is that there's evil going on. You need to stop it, basically, and it's yeah, that's pretty much it, really. I'll just skip that for now. If you want to see what happens in the paintings, you can watch my previous episodes. Or read the book. You can read the book. Footsteps. Someone is coming. The tall man you met earlier walks in, opening the door for another tall man dressed in a purple smoking jacket. May I present Lord Kelnor, the Earl of Druma, the butler announces. The Earl holds out his hand and you shake it. His grip is strong and his eyes pierce yours. His lips widen to a soft smile. You begin to tell him of your predicament, but he holds up his hand. Please, I can see that you have been caught in this filthy storm. Let us sit by the fire and we will see whether we can help. Franklins, tell the cook to prepare some food for our visitor. You protest that you do not wish to be any trouble, but your host ignores you and leads you into a drawing room where a fire is burning. Take off your coat and sit down. The heat of the fire makes you feel comfortable once more. Franklin's returns with 2 glasses of brandy. Will you relax, drink the brandy, and ask if you can use the telephone, turn to 394, or will you wait to see what he asks you? I'm going to do the first one. I'm going to relax, because if you don't, you actually get a bit sort of stressed and fearful. So I'm going to go to 394. The fire and the brandy warm you and you begin to feel more relaxed. You may deduct 1 fear point if you have any. And of course, if you had looked at the paintings earlier, you would have got a fear point for a few of them, just from the fact that a painting suddenly starting to have their eyes moving and speaking voices coming out of them is quite a frightening thing if you don't expect it. You explain to the Earl what happened on the road and that you would like to use his telephone to call the local garage. I'm afraid our telephone line came down tonight in the storm, he replies. You will have it repaired tomorrow morning. In any case, the garage would not come out here at this hour, but don't worry. You are perfectly welcome to spend the night here. I'm glad of the company. Tomorrow Franklin's will take you into town. Ah, here is Franklin's now. The butler comes back in to announce that a meal is ready. You both rise to go into the dining room. Turn to 309. The dining room looks magnificent. A long table stretches between 2 fine chairs and is laid with gleaming silver cutlery. A rich red wallpaper covers the walls, and the room is lit by a sparkling chandelier bristling with candles, which hangs from the ceiling. You take a seat and the butler moves behind you to offer you wine. Will you take white wine or red? Now, of course, one of the warnings you get from one of the paintings is not to drink the white wine. So I'm going to go for the red wine. Now, basically, if you're very unlucky in the beginning, spoilers coming up, it is actually possible to go in here and meet your host, and basically the game is over if you pick white wine or you eat cheese. So you can actually finish the game really quickly, and then you would have to start over again, which isn't much of a hassle when you die that early, but there you go. The wine is impeccable, a fine vintage. Soup follows, and then you may choose either lamb or duck for your main course. Or you can tell your host that you have already eaten and you are not hungry. Now, I think lamb or duck, I don't think it makes much of a difference, does it? I think they're practically the same. I think it's just a sort of a mock choice, just to sort of keep you a little bit on edge, making you unsure of whether one is safe and one isn't. I'm going to go with the lamb, because I do prefer lamb to duck myself, so it just seems the most obvious one for me. A rack of lamb is brought in on a silver platter. The smell is delicious. You both start to eat and talk. The Earl asks you about your job and your reason for being in such an out-of-the-way place in the middle of the night, which I would like to know too, because I still don't know, actually. Even after all playing this so many times, I've still not got to any point in the book where your motivations have become known, where I know why, what kind of appointment you're having, I don't know. So yeah, that's all a bit of actually that's a bigger mystery at the moment than what's going on in the house. Anyway, in turn, he tells you about himself and his family. Turn to 28. The Earl of Drumer is the last survivor of his family. His estate stretches for miles around the house. At one time, his estate was prosperous, with many tenant farmers cultivating his land and providing a healthy income for his family. But things started to change. His sister died at the age of 32 under mysterious circumstances. She was found dead in a clearing in the woods with strange marks on her neck. News travelled fast, and the ignorant peasants started muttering about witchcraft and black magic. Well, I think maybe they weren't so ignorant after all. I think they were right to go. In their eyes, the house was cursed, which it does seem to be. Pure superstitious nonsense, of course. Gradually the farmers moved to new pastures, avoiding the estate. Oh, sensible, aren't they? Well, they're more sensible than you are for going into the house, that's for sure. By now you have finished your meal. Franklin's returns to offer you fruit, cheese, coffee, and brandy. Will you take fruit, coffee, and brandy, cheese, coffee, and brandy, or just cheese and coffee? And I know cheese is supposed to be a bad choice, and that means there's 2 of the 3 chance here of getting it wrong if you're just guessing. And I'm going to go with fruit, coffee, and brandy, which I think is what I did the first time as well. I still haven't tried the cheese technically, but I'm quite sure the cheese is off, so to speak. So I'm going to go to 224. Franklin's brings them to you and you finish off your meal. Well, my friend, says the Earl, you must now be quite tired. It is well past midnight. Franklin's will show you to your room. You thank him and follow the butler out of the dining room. This way, if you please, he says as he leads you up a magnificent wide staircase with carved wooden banisters. A landing at the top leads to various different rooms, each with a name plaque on the door. He takes you to one which reads Erasmus' room and opens the door, wishing you a good night's sleep. Turn to 5. Now, the bedroom has been prepared for you. The room is not large, but a huge mirror appears to double its size. Crisp white sheets have been folded back on the bed, and a warm fire burns in the fireplace. The door closes as the butler leaves the room, and you walk over to the fire. Your situation is a little worrying. If you don't get going quickly, you will never make your appointment. But if it is true that there is no phone you can use, what else can you do? Maybe you should just hang your wet clothes in front of the fire and climb into bed. Or would you rather leave the room? Now, in the past, I have climbed into bed and I have been okay eventually. Now, but if you leave the room, there are a few options of after leaving the room I haven't tried, I guess. Of course, if you try to leave the room, you realize it's locked. And then you have to try breaking down the door. No, I think I'll just do what I've been doing most of the time now, which is to get into bed, basically, and just go from there. So, the bed is warm and comfortable, and you soon drift off to sleep. Strange and disturbing thoughts drift through your mind, and you wake suddenly in a cold sweat. A noise has disturbed you, and you realize that it was the sound of the door closing. You look around the room and notice a glass containing a clear liquid by the side of your bed. Someone has brought you a bedtime drink. You spring out of bed and try the door, but it is locked. Do you wish to swallow the drink that has been brought for you? Maybe that is white wine, you shouldn't drink that. Or will you try to break down the door? So I will try to break down the door, I guess. I'm not going to drink the drink, so that is the only other option. You take a short run and charge at the door. It shudders and the noise reverberates through the house, but the lock holds firm and you bounce off, clutching a sore arm. Deduct 2 stamina points for the pain. Oh. I haven't made a note of that on my map, so there's -2 stamina there. Okay. 20. If you should try charging again, 10 to 106. If you feel that the door is too strong and you are unlikely to break it down, turn to 158. So, I suppose that leaves me, I don't know, I don't want to try again if I hurt myself, do I? I'm going to go to 158 because I know that sort of works now. You can hear slow footsteps approaching your room. They stop outside the room and a key rattles as it unlocks your door. You must quickly decide whether to jump into bed and pretend to be asleep or to hide behind the door to surprise whoever is about to come in. Both of those actually work rather well, I think, so I'm going to hide behind the door. The door opens slowly and the man shuffles into the room carrying a glass containing a clear liquid. He appears to be bent double and his movements are slow. As he gets nearer to the bed, you realize he will soon notice that you are not there. Do you want to nip out of the room quickly and lock the door behind you, or will you leap on the man and attack him? So, I suppose that you could, if you attack him, you sort of beat him really quickly, and you can sort of ask him for things. I'm not sure if he's going to give you anything crucial. It does give you some kind of hint, which isn't essential, I don't think. So I'm just going to leave the room and lock him in, I think. Let's see, 350. You are on the landing overlooking the entrance hall. To your right, the passageway ends at the door. To the left, the landing turns right past a couple of doors. Do you wish to turn to the right, or would you prefer to follow the landing round to the left? Let's see, now where am I supposed to go? So if I go right, I get frightened by a ghost, but then I also get a hint about I'm supposed to get the Chris knife. I'm sort of thinking I sort of know that now. If I find it, I'll sort of pretend that that's the weapon of choice anyway. And if I go left, I suppose I can, yeah. So I'm going to turn left, I think, to start with. I don't need the hint again about the Chris knife. So you consider your best plan as you walk down the passageway. Turn right along the landing and two doors are on your left. The first has Azazel written on its nameplate and the second Mephisto. Do you want to try either of these rooms? If so, you may enter the Azazel room by turning to 358 or the Mephisto room by turning to 298. Otherwise, you may pass both these rooms and walk along to where the landing turns right. The Azazel room has... certainly you can find a weapon there. I know that. So, and that is the first place I can get a weapon. So I think I'm going to do that. So I'm going to go into the Azazel room and go to 358. The door opens and you peer into the room. You quickly check that there is no one inside and are relieved to find it's empty, but full of clutter. It seems to be a crude scientific laboratory of some sort. A brass telescope points through the window towards the sky. Charts and mathematical tables are pinned to the walls. A human skeleton hangs from a hook, and the bench is covered with glass vials and apparatus. They look like priceless antiques, and they were probably all made in the last century. Do you wish to investigate the room further? Yes, I will. 117. You step into the room and close the door behind you. A squeaking noise from one corner makes you jump. When you walk over, you are relieved to find that the squeaking comes from 3 rats in a cage. Keep your ears peeled for sounds of visitors as you investigate the contents of the room. Do you wish to look through the drawers, examine the liquids in the glass vials, or look through the cupboards? So I'm going to look through the drawers because that's where I'll find a weapon. I still don't know if that's the best thing you can find in here because the liquids, I've tried one of them and nothing happened, and it just feels a bit risky trying different strange liquids in any fighting fantasy book. It seems a bit of a risk. In a drawer underneath the bench you find a few ornate letter openers. Perhaps they are someone's collection. You are particularly interested because they are strong and dagger-like. In fact, they could easily make dangerous weapons. You may take one of them if you wish, and as a weapon it will allow your skill score to increase to its initial value if you use it in the fight. So now my skill is where it should be, at 11 for future battles. Now turn to 385. 385. Suddenly your ears prick up at the sound of footsteps coming closer. You nip into the shadows and wait. The footsteps stop outside the door and you can hear two voices talking. Hadn't we better ask the master's permission? One asks. Maybe you're right. And we'd better get a light for the lamps. You breathe a sigh of relief as the footsteps disappear off in the direction you approached the room. You decide it is best to leave before they return, and you open the door onto the landing. The safest way to go, it strikes you, is away from the two visitors who may return at any moment. If you approached this room from the left, turn to 229. If you came from the right, turn to 26. So I went left, and then I got to the Azazel room, which means I approached from the right, and therefore I'm going to 26 next. So 26. There is another door a couple of meters up the landing on the left. This is the door to the Mephisto room. If you wish to enter, turn to 298. Do I not have a paragraph 26 here on my map? Oh yes, there it is. Okay, so Mephisto room 298. The handle turns and the door opens a little, but it is caught on something and will not open any further. Do you wish to try to force the door, or will you leave it and continue along the landing? So I'm going to force the door. Go to 390. You heave the door with your shoulder. The wood creaks and it opens a little further, enough to let you into the room. It is small and bare, and a cold damp wind swirls through it, billowing the curtains. The window pane is smashed and the floor beneath the window is sodden from the rain. You look around, but there is nothing unusual in the room, apart from a frayed length of knotted rope. So I'm going to take that rope with me. So we've got a length of rope. I still haven't found anywhere to use it, but I presume it's there. There are very, very few items to pick up here, so at some point maybe it will be of use. As you pull the door to you, you find a piece of glass wedged underneath it, which was making it stick. You turn left out of the room and continue along the landing. 287. Now I seem to be following the same path every time I play now, so probably if this still seems to be the best path, next time I'll just skip the beginning and go straight into the house, probably. So, 287, yes, you walk up to the two doors in the corner of the balcony. The one on your left is named Balthus, and the one in front of you has no name. We enter the Balthus room, return to 299. Now I know that inside the Balthus room there is a zombie, and there doesn't seem to be anything useful in there. So all you get is fear and a battle that you can get injured from. So what I want to do is, if you want to go through the other door, turn to 86, and I want to go through the other door. So the door opens into a narrow passageway which ends at the window. There is a door halfway along the left-hand side, and a sign on the door identifies it as a Diabolus room. If you wish to try this door, turn to 13. If you wish to investigate the window instead, turn to 110. So I'm going to investigate the window because I think that is an important one. Curtains are drawn across the window and you approach cautiously. You gingerly pat the folds in the curtain and are relieved to find nothing there. Of course, at this point you will already possibly have experienced that something was hiding behind curtains. In the Balthus room, the zombie is actually hiding behind the curtains. So, although they seem to be safe, you are still on your guard as you draw them apart. As you do so, a thunderclap booms outside and makes you jump, but you are safe. A perfectly ordinary window is uncovered. However, the heavy iron bars on the outside are a little worrying. Through the window you can see nothing but the rain running down the pane of glass. But curiously, the rain is avoiding one area. Could it be that the wind is blowing the rain away from this corner? You bend down to take a closer look. Written in the condensation which has formed on the glass is a message. You read 3 words. Moderna in Abaddon. So, this is some kind of thing you can use at some point in Abaddon. You repeat this message to yourself and then rub it off the window in case anyone else should see it. Not that that really matters, probably. This message may be useful to you, and you will realize when it is. If later in the adventure you want to use the message, turn to reference 88. Do not turn to 88 now. Now you must head back to the landing and turn left. So we have to go to 193. Okay. A short distance further on, you come to the top of the main staircase which leads downwards. Immediately opposite the staircase is an unmarked door. Do you wish to go downstairs? Try the unmarked door, or will you continue round the landing? So, I'm thinking, let's see, let's see, there is, if you go to the door, there's a place where you can also get a weapon, and then there's a mammon room, and the shaitan room, and there's a vampire there. But I don't seem to, doesn't seem like there's anything worth getting there. There is a possibility that there's something in the mammon room that is worth getting, but I still can't say for sure. So, and if I go downstairs on the other hand, that probably is the best way to go. So I'm going to go, I'm not sure at this point because it's all a bit confusing, and of course the way this is written, you can actually go downstairs and you can go back upstairs. You can actually, there's a little bit of sort of sandbox going on here as well, where you can actually move between locations to a certain extent. I will go downstairs and see if I can find out something more there. You walk down the stairs cautiously, looking in every direction. There is no one about. In the hallway below, you may choose to try either a door on the left or a door on the right. Now, I'm actually downstairs, so this is my second page of my map here. So, the door on the left, I have done the door on the left before. I've not done the door on the right. And I'm not on the door in front, so I've got these two still to go actually. I'm going to do the door on the right this time, so I'm going to go to 285. So this is unknown territory to me now, and I go right. The door is locked. You may either try the door opposite, turn to 353, or creep back along the hallway, turn to 108. Okay. Or 108. What do you mean creep back along the hallway? I didn't come creeping through a hallway to start with, did I? 108. Creep back. I have to see what creeping back actually involves now. Let's see, 108. The hallway widens. To your left, there is a passage with 2 doors facing each other across it. To go this way, turn to 21. And now I also have to start looking because over here somewhere, you also go upstairs. Just to see if there's any location that is familiar. No, that's a different stair maybe. So to go this way, turn to 21. If you don't want to go this way, you can walk on a couple of meters and turn right into a passageway which runs past two doors facing each other and ends at another door. To go this way, go to 49. Okay, so that is 49 or 21. So I go to 49. There's lots of doors here. You have a choice of 3 doors here. Will you go through the door at the end of the passageway? Turn to 195. Try the door on the left, go to 307, or try the door on the right. So we got 307 left door, 217 right door, or 195 end door. Okay, so I'm going to try the door at the end of the passageway. The room is a study. Old leather-bound books line the walls, and the only source of light comes from a single candle burning on an antique desk. You walk over to examine the desk, which is made from beautiful wood and has brass-handled drawers. A piece of paper rests on the blotter. As you look at it, you are suddenly aware that something strange is happening. A large brown letter F is forming in the top left-hand corner. You gasp as the word "find" appears in a child's handwriting across the top of the paper. For this, you must add 1 fear point. So I've now got up to 1. Slowly the complete message forms "find Shiko." Who or what is Shiko? You pick up the paper and move round the desk to see it more clearly in the light, but as quickly as it appeared, the message disappears. Do you wish to look over the collection of books? Turn to 62. So this, I'll just make a note of that. So let's find Shiko. Okay. And now we can either look over the books. 62. Look books, or 54. Leave the room. 54. Leave. Of course, I'm going to look over the books while I'm here. And I'm going to go to 62. The collection contains many invaluable first editions and obscure works in strange languages. The Earl of Drimmer has a disturbingly large collection of books on black magic and many volumes on hypnotism. Do you want to look at any of them? If so, will you choose a book on black magic or a book on hypnotism? So, let's see, black magic 156 and 384. Hypnotism. I'm going to look at the book on black magic. So I'm going to go to 156. You take a book off the shelf entitled Mystical Symbols and Their Part in Magic Rituals. You open the cover and something drops out of the book onto the floor. You bend down to pick it up. It is a pentacle fashioned in metal and hanging on a long chain. The book itself is hollowed out to take the charm, and a piece of paper lies underneath it. The paper describes the pentacle as having powers over devil worshippers. Cast into the pentacle is the number 66. If you wish to take the pentacle, you may use it at any appropriate time by turning to reference number 66. Okay, so this is another important find, it seems. So, pentacle, 66, and plus 2 luck. Okay, so we found a pentacle 66. Luck points 2, that doesn't really help me now because I'm not used in the luck. Okay. Do you now wish to look for other interesting books? Turn to 286. Or would you prefer to leave the room? I don't know. I think I don't want to push my luck actually by looking for other things. I'm quite happy to have found one thing. If I found another thing, that might be a bad thing. I don't know. Certainly lots of these books that is the case. So I'm just going to leave actually, and go to 54. Okay. There are 2 doors leading out of the study. Did you enter from the drawing room? Don't know which one I entered from. No, I entered from a hallway, didn't I? If so, you can leave through the other door. If you entered from the hallway, you may now leave through the other door by 2353. Okay, so I'm going to go to so that's 247 or 353. Okay. The door opens into a large but cozy drawing room. Hang on, I've seen the drawing room before, haven't I? Yes, there it is. Okay, so this is actually over here. Okay. The door opens into a large but cozy drawing room. The dying embers of a warm fire burn in the hearth. Comfortable chairs are arranged around the fireplace. 2 glasses and a decanter stand on a glass-topped table between the chairs. Of course, this is where I've just been to have a bit of cognac with our host. There are plants in tall stands on either side of the windows, and there is another door next to the one you came in. Do you wish to explore the room further, leave through the other door, or will you have a little tipple from the decanter? Okay, so what did I do before here? Leave, okay. Or explore room, in which case I find a hip flask that I can fill, and then I can read. I can leave. Okay, so okay, I'm gonna explore the room. I don't think I was done doing that last time. Or was I? Hang on. You know what? I'm just going to leave the room actually and keep exploring. I think I'll, yeah. I don't know. I'll just, yeah. Or am I going to check out the... No, I'll explore the room a little bit. Okay, so I'm looking at the ornaments or the fire. I'm going to start with the ornaments. There are several delicate items of pottery and a few silver pieces on the shelf. One of the silver ornaments is a short dagger, and you may take this with you if you want. It is rather too short to be a really useful weapon, but nevertheless you may add 2 skill points if you use it in a fight. Of course, I already got a better weapon, so that's not necessary. There's also a silver hip flask. If you have not already done so, you may take this flask and fill it with brandy. Now, I'm going to have a hip flask of brandy. Now you may either examine the fireplace or leave the room. So I'm going to examine the fireplace because there was something there I was a bit unsure of whether... Okay, so a fine carriage clock sits in the center of an elaborately carved wooden mantelpiece. A number of letters are jammed in behind the clock and you reach for them. As you do so, your sleeve catches one of the carved images in the woodwork and it moves. You lean forward to examine it. It is a small carved demonic face which can be moved sideways. Do you wish to see what lies behind the wooden face, or will you read through the letters? Now, I'm going to read through the letters this time because I did not do that last time, so I'm a bit curious to see what that is. The letters are not particularly interesting except for one from a foreign address written in immaculate handwriting with a broad-nibbed black pen. It is addressed to the Earl of Drimmer and appears to warn him of possible dangers. It starts by describing a raid of some sort on the writer's house and how he narrowly escaped being caught. It ends with a PS which says, I also suggest you further protect yourself by changing the password on your own cache room. I for one know it as is Goathead. How many others know the same? Why not change it to something which will remind you of the sound advice of a good friend? The letter is signed by Count Pravemi. Okay, so it used to be hint, I'll put hint there. So it used to be Goathead, and so password Goathead changed, question mark, Count Pravemi. You read this through again and replace the letter. Do you now wish to leave the room, or will you turn your attention back to the small wooden face on the mantelpiece? Now, what was the deal with the face again? There's some kind of trap and stuff going on over here. I don't know. I think I'll leave the room for now, and I might be able to get back as well if I need to. So just to. Did you enter this drawing room from the hallway or the study? If you enter from the hallway, you take the door which leads into the study. Turn to 195. I entered from the study, didn't I? So that's 195 there. So this one takes us to, I'll just use a different color for this arrow, so it goes to 195, which is where I've been. Or it goes into the hallway, which is 251. So I'll just move that up there. 251 hallway. And study, okay. Across the hallway is another door. If you wish to try this door, turn to 97. Otherwise, you can turn right and follow the hallway. Turn to 42. So we've got 97 or 42. Now, this is the thing about this book, of course, is that because you can go back and forth between locations, the easiest way to map it really isn't the way I'm doing it now. I'm doing the flowchart map with all the choices. What that gives me, of course, is the it's easier to see what I haven't done yet, what I haven't looked at, but it makes it harder to actually see where I am geographically and which areas of the house I haven't really looked at. But I'll just see if I can manage to figure it out even so. I'm going to try the door, go to 97. You try the handle without success. The door is firmly locked and you decide to follow the hallway instead. Where the hallway widens, you may either turn left, turn to 316, or follow the hallway around to the right and try the door immediately on the right, turn to 217. Do I have any of those numbers? I don't think so. Yes, I can't see them. So we have so 217 door, or 316, turn left. I'm going to try the door. The door opens at the top of a staircase which leads down into the cellars underneath the house. Okay, so this is so staircase, stairs, cellar. Okay. You walk downstairs slowly to allow your eyes to become accustomed to the darkness. At the foot of the stairs, a twittering noise catches your attention. Suddenly you feel something land on your head and dig sharp claws into your scalp. You swat it away and your hand touches a small leathery body. Bats. A number of them are flapping around your head, darting and scratching with their claws. You must add 1 fear point for the shock. So we don't know, it's 2 fear points. And you may now run back upstairs. So we've got hide under the stairs. $320 or fight the bats. 343 fight. How do you fight the bats anyway? Hide, run. I'll try hiding anyway. See if it helps. You shelter under the stairs and fend off the bats with your hands. You soon discover that they cannot get at you while you are tucked away, and they flap off back to the corner from which they came. Bats don't behave like that. Anyway, when all is quiet again, you may decide your next move. Will you head up the stairs and open the door at the top, or will you remain to explore the bat's chamber? Okay. Is that their chamber? I don't want to go back up again right away. I thought I was in the cellar now. I'm going to explore the bat's chamber. So let's see, 330, explore. Where do you wish to look? In the corner from which the bats came, along the back wall, or under the stairs? I suppose I would want to look all the places eventually, but let's see. Where do we start? Under the stairs? I am under the stairs. I may as well start under the stairs. And also I'm running out of space here now. So we've got under the stairs, under stairs, 356 back wall. I suppose there could be secret passages and stuff around here. And 165 corner. I don't want to go where the bats came from because they're sort of back there, aren't they? So, well, I'm starting under the stairs anyway. Sort of makes the most sense, I think, to start where I am. There is nothing unusual under the stairs, although some of the bricks in the wall look as if they have been replaced recently. That is unusual, isn't it? You may either look in the bat's corner along the back wall or climb the stairs to the door above. Okay. Oh, hang on. 65. Yeah. Okay. So we got 356. Or climb the stairs 293. So that is. Do I have 293 here somewhere? Oh, I forgot to put in a 293 for going back upstairs. 293 upstairs. Okay. Back wall, I suppose, is next. 356. You feel along the wall for any sign of a secret entrance, but find nothing. Just as you are beginning to think you are wasting your time, your left hand dislodges a brick. Behind the brick is a lever. You pull the lever and a rumbling noise comes from the wall nearby. A section of the wall slides to one side, revealing a small entrance just large enough for you to climb through. You look inside, but it is pitch black. Do you want to step through this doorway, or would you rather not risk it and climb the stairs instead? So we've got stairs or 387. Okay, 387. And that's a secret Passage, secret passage. Okay, so I'm definitely gonna step through the doorway there and have a look, even though I can't see anything. You find yourself in a dark tunnel. It is quite short and ends at a door. You open the door slowly, and when you are sure there is no one inside, you step into the room. It seems to be some sort of ceremonial anteroom or dressing room. Hanging from hooks around the walls are 30 to 40 white gowns, and resting on shelves underneath the gowns are macabre masks made from goats' heads. A single passageway leads off to the left. When you are wondering where to go next, the sound sends a chill down your spine. Someone is coming. A hubbub of voices grows louder as a group of people come towards the room. You look quickly around for somewhere to hide and decide to nip behind the door. There's a lot of nipping in this book. Steve Jackson really likes the word nip, and so do I. He did use it a bit in Citadel of Chaos as well. Anyway, that's just an aside. Suddenly the door opens and about 40 people come into the room, all chattering excitedly. You mingle with them and merge unnoticed into the crowd. They are ribbing a man called Brother Isaacson, and it seems that tonight is a very significant night for him. You copy what they are doing, laughing and smiling, and even getting dressed up in a gown and mask. Eventually, when they are dressed, they all move off along the other passageway. Will you go along with them, or will you hang around at the back, hoping to stay behind unnoticed in the room? Okay, so so 122 go along, or 299 stay. So I'm going to stay behind and see if I can find something interesting. As the others set off along the passageway, you remain at the back of the crowd. As the last few are leaving the room, another man bursts in through the door, puffing and panting. Good, I'm not too late, he gasps. For a minute I thought I'd miss it. Now let's see, where is my gown and mask? Your blood chills as the man starts looking in the area where you took your costume. Gone, he says. Wait, brother, someone has taken my dress. Ah, there is my mask. Sorry, brother, you must have taken mine by mistake. I can recognize it quite clearly by the broken tooth. Here, let me have it. The man snatches the mask from your head and all attention is focused on you. Here, who are you? Someone asks. Your hesitant reply gives the game away. Back, brothers, shouts the voice. We seem to have an intruder in our midst. A dozen men come back into the room and surround you. You have no choice but to go with them to the cell where they lock you in. This is a cell from which there is no escape. Your adventure is over. Probably should have just gone along with them, I guess, in this case. So that means that the end we got there, and the end, and a big fat red square around that option, so I don't choose that one again. Right. Now I did have that amulet where I was supposed to be able to let me control these kinds of people, but that didn't seem to be an option in this case, which is a bit of a shame. But am I getting any closer to this? It still feels a bit like I'm sort of just grasping around blindly because I don't know where things are. I did find a few new things today that may or may not be useful for future reference, like the pentacle. Oh, hang on. Oh, can I use the pentacle there? Can I go to 66 when I'm... is that even an option now? Is this a place where I can use the pentacle? Or is that for another location now? I think it is for... I think that's meant for somewhere else, isn't it? Because that's the one I got to last time. There was a place where I think that's where it was meant to be used. Anyway, I'll concede the battle for now, and I will try again next time to get through this, well, still devilishly difficult House of Hell. I can see why people struggle with this one, and also why many people actually give up on trying to beat this game, because it is so non-linear that it's a lot harder to identify exactly where you need to explore further to try to find whatever it is you need to win. But I do know I need the Chris knife, and the pentacle probably will help me at some point. I presume maybe the right thing is that I'll need the pentacle to do the crowd control at some point, and then I will have the option of using the Chris knife not too far away from that place. But how do I get there? I suppose that's the sort of way I went last time. But I still need to find the Chris knife. I haven't got the Chris knife. So, yeah. It's a tricky one, which is good. I like that. The whole game feels like a puzzle that you're trying to piece together as you're playing it. And although I sort of know what's going on, I still don't know what to do and where to go to actually win the game. So it'll be interesting to try again next time. So that said, well, thanks for watching again if you watched all the way through, and please like, share, subscribe, all those things that people do on YouTube, or so I have been told. And I'll see you again next time with more House of Hell horrors as I try once more to beat this game. Next time, I may just sort of skip right into the thick of it and say that I'm going to start as I go back downstairs, for instance. Because I think that maybe the sort of same beginning I will keep doing again and again. It seems that is pretty much sort of carved in stone now, as far as I'm concerned, how I'm going to do the beginning. So I'm going to go all the way to where I can go downstairs, and then I'll end up here, and then I'll just have to see where I can go from there, really. Which will speed things up a bit, and presumably it's possible I might die right away, but either way, I will definitely have to sort of shorten it a little bit in order to not repeat myself over and over again, because that is one of those things that can get a bit boring for me, and possibly for you as a viewer as well. For me, the excitement of a fighting fantasy gamebook is to sort of when I discover new things, and when I'm quite sure, pretty much sure that there's one path in the beginning that is correct now. If I keep doing it over and over and over again, I will get a bit bored, to be honest. So I'm going to do some kind of quick play in the beginning of my next episode, and I'll take it from there. So thanks for watching again, and goodbye for now. Bye bye.